So the first patch notes are out, and we have some pretty substantial changes in some ways, and some pretty, maybe not that substantial changes in other ones. So we're going to jump right into it and talk about this, and I'll give you guys my opinion on what I think is going on with the game. Alright, so starting off, they give us a little bit of yapping about what they're trying to do, figuring out data and trying to, guess around what's going on with the game and what we want, which, big issue to start, data. You got to have the right level of interpretation. You got to understand what's actually going on in deeper levels to be able to use data properly, which, yeah, I'm not too confident that that is something that really any dev company can do. But moving on from that one, they talk about their patch cadence here, which I think is pretty important, because dev companies tend to have this issue with not really having such a super deep level of understanding of their own game and how it works at a really high, not necessarily high level, but a deep level, and that it would enable them to balance more properly. The best strategy is just to patch frequently, right? Because if we don't have enough time to sit there and start to be the disease-causing players that we are to produce all these problems, because we get to figure things out too much, then it's better things just shift and go really rapidly. So they say they're thinking one more big patch in December, then bi-weekly patches starting mid to January, which is really hype. That's exciting. 2 weeks per patch is awesome. Actually, that would be amazing. The game will be shifting constantly. There'll be always reasons to hop on and play. All right, moving on. So, first thing to talk about here is that they have messed with ranked. The issue that was going on essentially is that since it's a game that requires a lot of players in each lobby, we were getting a lot of players who weren't quite at the top level getting shifted up into the players that were at the top level, and then the top level players were just 4-stacking and then crapping on them, right? Which is not fun. Like as you say, doom feeling of a solo player getting run over by a pre-made. I'm not really sure what the strategy is in regards to how to fix this. Honestly, just a bigger player base is going to fix this to some extent, but we'll see what they're going to cook up. But for now, what we're getting is we're getting a temporary change. They said a fun temporary solution for the holidays. So they're resetting all the people at the very high rank down to 500 rank points, and then making it so the squad master key will now be limited to duos and pre-mades at most. They did say that they were changing the duos master queue to solos at most, so you would just solo queue, but they changed that. They reverted that. So the fact that they reverted this is good. The squad's master queue being limited to duos is kind of I mean, we'll find out, right? I guess it's a temporary solution. Again, this won't affect most people, but they have now given custom access to Legends players. They've so that the rest of us who are playing at the top, who want to continue playing with our teams, can just run more custom games frequently. So, but like I said, temporary change because they're planning on adjusting other things. So, yep, custom game access. This one I'm excited about. I think this is a really good change. They are increasing the initial circle radius by 10%. So the original radius on the map was really small. This might be enough. We'll see. I haven't quite played a game on it to experience it, but an additional 10% size should be pretty solid. This part is good though. Keeping the first circle closing in on the same amount of time is really nice. The pacing of the game outside of the original limited drop size I thought was really good, but so this is maintaining. That's really nice. All right, moving on to the characters. So we're getting a little bit of a buff to Ghost, which I'm always a little bit wary of because I think this character is quite strong still, and is always at risk of being like a hard meta character. So we're getting a little bit of damage increase, cooldown reduction on the first and second dashes. Nothing crazy, so we're not like completely concerned. But now we're gonna get into the hot topic here, as per my last video, Hudson. And they say here we're seeing Hudson looking pretty dominant across all MMRs. Crazy. Who would have thought, right? And in that Hudson video, I said that they balance entirely based off of data, which is looking a little evidenced here, as they said, literally saying Hudson dominant across all MMRs. And so they're looking to reduce him. So now they are now, I guess this doesn't really change anything for the average, for like the person playing against him, but the minigun is now having a slight reduction in projectile size. That's nice. It really should be probably a lot more than that. And then the hover jets are being reduced in duration from 2 seconds at the start to 1.4, and then from 2.5 at the end if you maxed it to 1.75. So this is a pretty substantial nerf, but I don't think it's going to be anywhere near enough. It doesn't really address the most fundamental. It doesn't change the fact that he still has a bunch of mobility, to be honest, because, you know, it wasn't like you needed to throw yourself super far with the character to like get on top of people. You know, like they still don't really have a solution. Because with something like this, like having it be 2 dashes, or, you know, 2 shorter dashes instead of like maybe just dropping it down to 1 dash, is that you still have the capability to kite enemies twice. Like you have the flexibility, right? It wasn't like you needed to like full dash to chase people. Like that wasn't the part that was broken about him. But I'll talk about that more at the end. So Jin here is getting a buff. The flash dagger cast warm up reduced from 0.3 seconds to 0.1 seconds. Nothing super crazy here. Throw the dagger, hit someone, TP onto them. So this is nothing insane, but it'll be a nice little quality of life. Right. This one also not crazy. Mind Blade as the recommended item for Myth. Doesn't matter. Cool. So Shiv got a tech change that was impacted by a tech change apparently to control projectile ranges. So they're buffing her range of her regular shot and then her empowered shot slightly. These sort of numbers probably seem inconsequential, but I bet you'll feel them a little bit on Shiv. So have fun playing that. All right. Nothing super crazy here either. The Vampiric Axe was underperforming apparently, all versions of it. So they've increased the Omnivamp from 7.5% to 8.5%. Cool. You get an extra 1%. I like it. Swiftblade, heal and empowered attack increase. That's useless. Rampage ability power and max stacks reduced. I don't really know why they're nerfing this. This power was like, item was like not that good. It was very good. It was only good in a few characters, but it's a raw stat stick item, so I'm okay with that. Two-way teleporter is now getting nerfed, which is or buffed, sorry, which is cool. I think it's a really exciting power, and it's very useful for a lot of things. Like you can pop it at the entrance at the beginning of a fight onto somewhere you want to escape to in case you start losing it, and you just like kite there and TP out. You can pop it on top of a res beacon while you're resing to insta TP if anyone comes and just basically guarantee a res. And yeah, so it's really, really strong. There's so many things you can do with it. And it's getting buffed. So this time frame on it is like pretty substantial, to be honest. This is also really substantial too. Let's be more flexible in use. All right, bungee shot. So bungee shot's cooldown got reduced. The item didn't need it. It was super strong as is. And then now it has like no warm-up time on the activation, so it'll be easier to aim. This doesn't need this. It's already very, very powerful, but now it's going to be even more powerful. So yeah, guys, it's really cool to see them patching so quickly. A lot of these changes are, you know, nothing crazy, which I wouldn't really expect anything super crazy from like a first balance patch or the you know, from a first balance patch, or with this set of big changes they're also trying to make right here, right? Like little micro changes is fine, whatever. It's, you know, such a quick balance patch. Excited to see it, right? Like I said, this custom game access stuff is you know, I trust that this is something they feel like they need to do. This is something I trust them on because they this is something that they can tell in terms of like player feedback of understanding like how many players are keeping and losing because of the top level players like shitting on, like getting randomly pulled up into like stacks and getting shit on. That's something that they have data access to, and that data actually just objectively does allow them to understand that. But win rates and stuff like that in particular don't answer very much about the game, and they don't explain, because there's so many other factors that can affect it, like play rates, just like perception shifts. There's so much stuff that can affect that stuff. Unless you deeply understand like how all the characters interact and how the different concepts about like this type of game interact and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, you just kind of are lacking. So anyway, we'll see what happens with Hudson.